Welcome to my Cyberpunk Division run at InRange TV's High Desert Brutality 2024. This is my second run through the match. My first run through was in Trooper Division during the staff match. I'll have that video up later, but I wanted to get this video up first because the InRange review of the rifle I used in this division went up this week. I'm using a Desert Tech Wolverine in 5.56 with a 20-inch barrel. It's outfitted with a lead and steel Promethean LP1 red dot and SIG Juliet 4-power magnifier. The pistol I'm using is a Laugo Arms Alien in 9mm with a lead and steel Pandora red dot. There will be a complete review of this pistol on InRange TV later. On this stage from inside the vehicle, the shooter has to get caliber-dependent hits, in my case 2 hits each on all of the 5 steel targets inside the bay. There are 4 large steel targets and 1 smaller circular target. With those targets neutralized, the shooter exits the vehicle, and from the A-frame has to hit 3 targets above outside the bay at about 125 to 200 yards with 1 hit each. With those targets successfully engaged, I move to the front of the van and obtain a supported position using the frame of the front of the van to hit those same 3 targets outside the bay again. Now I need to move inside the van and engage the 5 targets inside the bay again. This isn't a great angle for shooting left-handed from inside the van, but I make it work, though I do have more misses. From outside the van, again, the 3 targets outside the bay. Had I missed less, I wouldn't need to reload here, but I think my reload's pretty smooth for using a gun I'm not that familiar with. Moving forward, I deploy my bipod to support off the trunk to engage the 3 targets outside the bay. Note, I get as much of my upper body on the trunk as possible. If you're running a bipod, always get as much of your body onto the prop as you can to get maximum support from these positions. Same thing again from the hood of the vehicle, engaging the 3 targets outside the bay. Once I've neutralized those, I'm going to reload before engaging the spinner at 50 yards. This particular spinner has holes through it, so there is a smaller area to hit the target. The key thing is don't keep shooting through the center. I'm first in Cyberpunk Division on this stage and 5th out of 118 shooters overall. This stage begins by engaging the MGM target's whirligig. I engage the top array first to get it moving to make sure the targets don't disappear behind the hardcover. Hop over the tripwire. From the Idaho barricade here, I have to neutralize the plate rack and then get another hit on the static target. Hop over another tripwire, then engage this knockdown plate rack in sequence. And finally, before holstering, drop the mag and do 1 clearing shot on the static steel. A bit slow to reholster with the flap, but well worth it overall at this match to protect this very expensive pistol. Hop over another tripwire here, and when I'm at the bomb prop, I have to enter the code from the key that I took from the last bay. This engages a 45-second countdown, and I have to hit these 2 targets standing offhand after jumping over that tripwire, move back to the bomb, defuse it, and then finish out the stage. If you don't defuse the bomb in time, it goes off and you sustain a 60-second penalty. Bunny hop over the tripwires again, and then from the barricade, shoot the Know Your Limits plate rack. Slight discrepancy between the staff match and main match here. Here I have to shoot through the port versus outside anywhere on the barricade. I am first in Cyberpunk Division on this stage and 5th out of 118 shooters overall. Stage begins, rifle slung empty, and the shooter must move into the shoot house and engage a hostage taker target there. If they hit the hostage, it is a 30-second penalty. Continuing to move through the shoot house. From this port, there are 3 static steel targets that require 2 hits each. Moving forward through the shoot house, I'm going to come up on a plate rack with a no-shoot plate rack behind it. The white plates are the shoot plates. Drop the magazine, clear the pistol by firing it into the head of the cyborg target, holster up, retrieve the cyborg's head, and then move to the wobbly bridge representing your evacuation vehicle. The kettlebell skull must be on the platform with the shooter while they engage 2 auto poppers with 2 hits each in sweeps, and then rotate the spinner. Shooting from this platform is tricky because the more you shoot, the more it wobbles around. So you really have to pay attention to your shot-to-shot recovery when you're on the spinner in particular. If you try to double or triple, sometimes it doesn't work because you are making yourself move even more. On my first run through in Trooper Division, I did this whole stage with PCC, and in retrospect, that was a mistake. Spinner is much easier to rotate with 5.56 with the energy delivered than with 9mm at 60 yards. I am first in Cyberpunk Division on this stage and 7th out of 118 shooters overall. The stage begins with the shooter on top of the berm engaging 2 auto poppers at about 100 yards with 2 hits each in sweeps. Once those are clear, the shooter will back off the berm, come around the side, and begin engaging rifle targets from about 150 to 400 yards from 4 different positions. The shooter could support off the tank traps or shoot prone next to them. During my trooper run, I supported off the tank traps. Going prone is going to be substantially faster. I end up being about 15 seconds faster on this run than my trooper run. Moving forward to the next tank trap and repeating the process. Obviously, the closer you get, the easier the targets become to hit. One for one from that position. The Desert Tech isn't quite as accurate as my ARs, but it's pretty darn close. I think if I had a good match trigger for it, I could get even closer. One for one from this shooting position as well. The magazine being located in the rear allows me to build a more stable shooting position off of this rooftop prop than a conventional rifle with the magazine forward. There's nothing in the way of me making as much contact with the roof as possible. And from this final position, I'm just going to basically lay across the platform and do another one-for-one engagement on the 4 targets. I'm first in Cyberpunk Division on this stage and 4th out of 118 shooters overall, the highest score without a bonus. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this stage there was a 600-yard bonus target that I chose not to engage. This stage begins by engaging 5 rifle targets with caliber-dependent hits and 2 sweeps, which means I have to hit all of them a total of 4 times. One of the targets is only available from this port over here. Back to the first port to engage the first 4 again. No need to use magnification on these targets. They're fairly large and relatively close at about 50 to 60 yards. Ground the rifle unsafe in the dump box. Move over to this pistol engagement area, but it begins with a Taurus lever gun in 38 Special for bonuses on this plate rack. Every plate knockdown is a bonus of -5 seconds. Rifle's empty, go to pistol. I have to hit these 4 auto poppers once each. Going to have a malfunction here, I believe induced by my gloves dragging on the slide analog on the Alien. Clear it, neutralize the last bonus target. Run over to this area with the spinner. I have to drive the spinner out of the way to hit the auto popper behind it. Very easy to do with how flat shooting the Alien is. Now moving forward to this area, there's going to be 5 boxes total. The shooter has the choice to lock in their position by engaging a 3rd target, but if you miss at all, you have to step back to the previous box. I go for just shooting the 2 mandatory targets. Pretty confident in my pistol abilities, and the Alien is very accurate with a very nice trigger. I am first in Cyberpunk Division on this stage and 4th out of 118 shooters overall. Stage begins by engaging the large square plates with caliber-dependent hits, simulating disabling a vehicle column. Going to prone out for support at the back of the range here, at basically the end of the road running up the center. There are 2 smaller plates that I have to hit twice each from this position. Then there is a 300-yard target and a 400-yard target.
Hit again. Hit. Move on. 300. Hit. 400. Hit. 3 shots at bonus if desired.
The bonus target is 700 yards away, and I don't want to waste my time on it, so I drop my mag and shoot clear on the mini IPSC at about 50 yards. The rifle is now treated as a stick until I load it again. Moving forward, I'm going to draw my pistol, and through the van, there are 3 steel targets I have to hit twice each. Moving into the bus, I have to engage those same 3 pistol steel targets again with 2 hits each. Unfortunately, my rifle is going to kind of catch on the seats and the sling is going to be choking me slightly, so I'm going to miss on these targets more than is reasonable for the distance. The final target's a pretty extreme angle out the window as well, which adds the awkwardness. Adding to the problem is I can't hear my own hits inside the bus, so I have to talk to the RO for confirmation that I hit the targets enough. From this window, I'm going to engage the spinner target. Rotating it completely is a 30-second bonus, and I make quick work of it with the alien. Move down another window and engage the Texas Star. 1 for 1 on it with the alien as well. Pistol now gets grounded, unsling the rifle, and I have those 2 targets at about 150 yards from this position to engage with.
2 hits each. Back of the bay.
Takes me a moment to settle in, but once I do, I make the hits consistently. I am first in Cyberpunk division and 10th out of 118 shooters on this stage. Stage begins laying on a rooftop prop, shooting through the hardcover Know Your Limits, knocking down the plates behind it. Safely exit the roof, move down into the trench. Once in the trench, I'm going to have to get 2 hits each on the various steel targets. From this first position, I do have to reposition after I start looking through the port to get on target. Shooting one-handed through this port just feels more natural to get the angle I need than trying to extend both my arms out completely. From here, I have to drop the magazine and fire a clearing shot on that target for a 5-second bonus.
Up and over.
I'll take a moment to point out that all the props and theming on the stage were provided by Lead Cloud of the Autumn Pact Wasteland role-playing group, who is the range officer for the stage. Have to acquire a radio antenna from that first position, power cables from there, and now I'm going to get a battery. I'm going to move across the road once exiting the trench here. I have to assemble all these items so that the radio can send a message as part of the stage. It's also a good time to point out that sometimes the environment is the brutality at brutality matches. The temperatures here were over 100 degrees for portions of the match, and in addition to the dust on the range, the air quality was pretty poor because of wildfires in the area. You can see all that haze on the horizon. Definitely made some of the stuff harder than it would normally be. All of that stuff should have been removed between shooters, but I don't want to reshoot this stage, so Lead Cloud helps me pull it out of the way, and then I just have to set up the equipment I brought with me. Flip the switch, move over to the radio antenna here. I have to rotate it using the bicycle mechanism here. After rotating the antenna, I have to retrieve my rifle that was staged there, loaded condition 3. I think having my bipod on here would have helped a little bit, but not too slow engaging these targets. The first circle there is 1 hit each. The target all the way at the back is caliber dependent hits, so in my case 2 hits each. The other circle on the right is again 1 hit. This engagement is going to repeat from over top the barrels here. Easy enough to shoot supported over the top. And then from between the spool and the barrels again. I did breathe in quite a bit of dirt on that stage. I am first in Cyberpunk division and 18th out of 118 shooters overall. In the end, I'm first out of 8 shooters in Cyberpunk division and second out of 118 shooters overall. Overall, shooting in Cyberpunk division with the Wolverine was a fun and interesting experience, and the rifle didn't hold me back at all, as you can tell from the results. You can see my full thoughts on the Wolverine in InRange TV's review that I'll link in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of in-depth action competition shooting analysis, please consider supporting me directly on Patreon. And always remember, the Second Amendment is for everyone.